The endless crimson landscape of Krell 9 stretched like a bleeding wound across the horizon. Dust storms whipped toxic particles through the atmosphere, creating a hellish environment where survival seemed impossible. June Park adjusted his environmental suit seals, checking the radiation meters embedded in his forearm display. His research vessel, the Songbird, hummed quietly behind him, its adaptive camouflage blending seamlessly with the rocky terrain. This wasn't just another planetary expedition. This was a mission that could redefine humanity's understanding of extreme environment exploration. Suddenly, his scanning equipment chirped. A faint biological signature flickered on the holographic display. Something definitely wasn't standard planetary reading. Most researchers would have dismissed it as electromagnetic interference, but June had learned never to ignore anomalies. He guided his compact rover across the jagged terrain, navigating through rock formations that looked like shattered glass. The vehicle's quantum suspension absorbed every bump, allowing him a smooth ride despite the brutal landscape. Each movement was calculated, each decision backed by years of field research. As he approached the signature's origin, June noticed something peculiar. A small metallic object glinted amid the rust-colored rocks, definitely not natural geological formation. Closer inspection revealed fragments of an environmental suit, torn and scorched by radiation and extreme temperatures, and then he saw her. Hana lay crumpled between two massive rock formations, her alien physiology barely recognizable. Her suit was more whole than protective gear, with intricate biomechanical components sparking and failing. Most would have considered her beyond saving, but June saw something different. A living being fighting against impossible odds. Her species, the Zelarians, were known for their delicate cellular structures. They could survive only in highly controlled environments. This planet would kill her within minutes if left unattended. The radiation levels alone would dissolve her cellular membranes faster than human tissue. June's training kicked in. He wasn't just a researcher, he was a survivor. Years of extreme environment studies, military medical training, and pure human determination converged in this moment. He activated his suit's emergency medical protocols, creating a localized protective energy field around Hana. The rover's advanced medical systems began scanning her biological composition. Complex holographic displays showed her critical condition, multiple organ systems failing, radiation poisoning advancing rapidly, and her respiratory functions collapsing. Any standard medical intervention would be futile, but June wasn't interested in standard procedures. He pulled out a specialized medical kit, something he'd personally modified during previous expeditions. Custom nano-regenerative compounds, adaptive cellular stabilizers, and experimental radiation neutralization agents filled specialized compartments. This wasn't just equipment. This was a testament to human innovation. Carefully, he lifted Hana into the rover's medical bay. The vehicle's internal systems immediately began creating a controlled environment, mimicking her species' natural habitat. Quantum-level temperature regulators, radiation absorption fields, and adaptive life support systems worked in perfect synchronization. The next few moments would determine whether she lived or died. June's hands moved with precision, connecting specialized medical interfaces to her failing biological systems. Each connection was a calculated risk, each intervention a potential breakthrough or catastrophic failure. But humans were defined by their ability to push beyond known limitations. Outside, the Krell 9 landscape continued its violent dance. Dust, storms intensified, radiation levels spiked, and temperature fluctuations would have killed most known life forms. But inside the rover, a quiet battle for survival was taking place. Hana's eyes flickered momentarily, a spark of consciousness amid systemic failure. For a brief moment she saw June, not as a stranger but as something unexpected, a guardian, a protector, a being whose entire existence seemed dedicated to preserving life against insurmountable odds. Little did she know, this moment would change everything. The rover's systems hummed with potential, a technological marvel born from human curiosity, innovation, and an unbreakable spirit of exploration. Somewhere between life and death, between alien and human, A story of survival was just beginning to unfold, and June Park was its unlikely protag, the medical bay of the songbird, transformed into a complex life support ecosystem. June's hands moved with the precision of a surgeon and the intuition of a survivor. Hana's alien physiology was unlike anything he'd encountered before, her cellular structure more delicate than the most fragile crystal, her biological systems fighting a losing battle against Krell 9's brutal environment. Quantum medical nanobots flickered to life, their microscopic forms dancing through her bloodstream. These weren't just standard medical devices. They were June's custom-designed survival tools, developed through years of extreme research. Each nanobot carried a complex algorithm designed to adapt to alien biological structures, repairing damage. At a molecular level, the rover's advanced diagnostic systems painted a grim picture. Hana's radiation exposure was catastrophic. Her cellular membranes were breaking down, her internal organs showing signs of critical failure. Any standard medical protocol would have pronounced her dead minutes ago, but June wasn't interested in standard protocols. He pulled out a specialized thermal blanket, a piece of equipment that was more advanced technology than simple fabric. Developed for deep space exploration, it could generate precise thermal gradients, regulate cellular metabolism, and create localized healing environments. Most researchers would have considered it experimental. For June, it was just another tool in survival. The blanket wrapped around Hana, its quantum-responsive fibers creating a protective cocoon. Microscopic energy fields began stabilizing her body temperature, counteracting the toxic radiation that threatened to consume her from within. It was like watching a delicate dance between human technology and alien biology. June's communication device crackled to life. The distant research station was trying to establish contact, their signals barely penetrating the planet's intense electromagnetic interference. He knew what they would say. Abandon the mission. Save yourself. The alien is beyond recovery. But that wasn't an option. He mixed a custom cellular regeneration compound, combining elements from his research kit with emergency medical supplies. It was a risky procedure, something between medical science and pure human determination. The mixture looked like nothing special, a simple, clear liquid with a slight shimmer. But within its molecular structure lay a complex healing algorithm. This compound entered Hana's system through specialized medical interfaces. Her body, initially resistant, slowly began to respond. Damaged cellular structures started to rebuild, radiation-affected tissues began to heal. It was like watching a living organism rebuild itself from the inside out. Outside the rover, Krell 9 continued its relentless assault. Dust storms raged, radiation levels fluctuated wildly, and temperatures swung between freezing and burning. But inside, a different battle was taking place, a battle of survival, of innovation, of pure human will. Hana's breathing stabilized. Her alien eyes, complex biological structures that looked more like living crystals than standard eyes, began to show signs of consciousness. Each breath was a victory, each moment a testament to human medical innovation. June tracked her vital signs, making minute adjustments to the medical systems. This wasn't just medical treatment, this was a complex dance of survival, of pushing biological limitations beyond known boundaries. His hands moved across holographic interfaces, creating healing pathways that no standard medical textbook could describe. The rover's computer system began compiling data, recording every moment of this unprecedented medical intervention. Somewhere, in the vast research networks, scientists would analyze this rescue, breaking down each decision, each molecular interaction. But for June, this was more than research. This was survival. Hours passed. The harsh environment of Krell 9 continued its violent dance outside, but inside the rover, a miracle was unfolding. Hana's body was transforming, healing, adapting. The line between medical intervention and pure survival had blurred completely as the first signs of recovery became apparent. June allowed himself a momentary smile. This wasn't just a rescue, this was a statement, a statement about human potential, about our ability to survive, to adapt, to push beyond known limitations. The battle wasn't over. But for now, survival had won. End of Part 2. The soft hum of medical equipment filled the rover's compact medical bay. Hana's consciousness flickered like a fragile flame, her alien eyes slowly adjusting to the unfamiliar environment. June sat nearby, monitoring her recovery, his hands occasionally making subtle adjustments to the medical interfaces. Her first coherent movement was unexpected. A slight twitch of her crystalline fingers, a barely perceptible breath that suggested something more than mere survival was happening. The medical nanobots continued their intricate dance through her cellular structure, rebuilding what the harsh planet had destroyed. "Where?" The word came out more like a whisper, a delicate sound that seemed to struggle against the rover's controlled atmosphere. June leaned forward, his eyes reflecting a mix of scientific curiosity and genuine concern. "You're safe," he responded, his voice calm and measured. Krell 9 isn't exactly a welcoming vacation spot. A hint of something, perhaps surprise, perhaps confusion, crossed Hana's alien features. Her species wasn't known for emotional displays, but something about this human was different. Most scientific teams would have left her to die. Most would have considered her survival impossible. The rover's advanced communication systems began translating their potential conversation, creating a complex linguistic bridge between human and Xylarian communication patterns. It wasn't just translation. It was a complex dance of understanding, of bridging two entirely different biological and cultural experiences. June pulled up a holographic display showing the medical interventions that had kept her alive. Complex. Graphs demonstrated her cellular recovery, radiation neutralization, and biological stabilization. To him, these were more than just numbers. They were a story of survival. "Your environmental suit was compromised," he explained, pointing to the damaged protective gear stored in a sealed compartment. "Radiation levels on this planet would have killed most biological entities within minutes." Hana's crystalline eyes focused on him. Among her species, humans were considered primitive, technological novices with limited understanding of advanced survival techniques. But this human had just rewritten everything she understood about survival. The rover's external sensors continued monitoring Krell 9's brutal environment. Radiation storms raged outside, creating electromagnetic patterns that would destroy most advanced technological systems. Yet here they were, surviving, existing, pushing against impossible odds. Why? The question came unexpectedly. Simple. Direct. June understood the deeper meaning behind her question. Why save an alien? Why risk personal safety for a being from an entirely different biological ecosystem? He smiled, a human expression that seemed to confuse her even more. "Because life is valuable," he responded, "regardless of its origin." The communication systems worked over time, translating not just words, but the subtle nuances of emotional context. Hana began to understand that this wasn't just a scientific rescue. This was something more profound. Her recovery continued. The medical nanobots completed their intricate reconstruction, healing damage that would have been fatal to most known life forms. June watched with a mixture of professional curiosity and something deeper, a fundamental human drive to preserve. Life outside, another radiation storm approached. The rover's adaptive camouflage systems activated, creating a protective energy field that would shield them from the incoming electromagnetic chaos. It was a dance of survival, of technology pushing against planetary hostility. Hana's biological systems were stabilizing. Her alien physiology, once on the brink of total collapse, was now showing signs of remarkable recovery. The medical interfaces continued monitoring, recording every microscopic change, every cellular adaptation. "Your species is unexpected," she finally managed, her voice gaining strength with each passing moment. June chuckled. It was a warm sound, something that seemed out of place in the harsh environment of Krell 9. "We get that a lot," he responded. As the radiation storm reached its peak outside, inside the rover, something remarkable was happening. It wasn't just a rescue. It wasn't just a scientific intervention. It was the beginning of an understanding that would challenge everything both their species thought they knew about survival, about life, about connection. The universe, vast and unforgiving, continued its endless dance. And here, in this tiny rover on a hostile planet, two beings from completely different worlds were finding a connection that transcended biological limitations. End of Part 3. The rover's compact research library came alive with holographic displays showcasing June's extraordinary expedition history. Hannah watched, her alien eyes absorbing every detailed projection of his previous missions. Each image revealed something more profound than simple planetary exploration. They showed human survival against impossible odds. One hologram highlighted a mission to the frozen methane oceans of Proxima 7. Standard protective suits would have failed within hours, but June's custom modifications allowed him to survive 3 weeks in an environment that would have instantly killed most explorers. Microscopic thermal regulators, adaptive skin membranes, and quantum-level protection systems transformed standard exploration gear into survival miracles. Another projection showed his expedition through the acidic storm regions of Vortex 3. Atmospheric conditions that could dissolve standard metallic compounds became nothing more than a challenging environment for June's specialized equipment. Where robotic probes failed, human determination succeeded. Your technological adaptations are unconventional, Hannah observed, her crystalline features showing a mixture of confusion and respect. June smiled, understanding the underlying complexity of her statement. Humans weren't just survivors, they were innovators who transformed limitations into opportunities. Each piece of equipment told a story of human ingenuity, of pushing beyond established technological boundaries. The rover's systems began displaying comparative analysis. Xylarian exploration technology relied heavily on complex computational systems and pre-programmed survival protocols. Human exploration, by contrast, seemed chaotic, improvised, almost reckless, but within that apparent randomness lay an incredible adaptive potential. Most of my equipment is custom-modified, June explained, pulling up schematics of his specialized gear. Standard systems have limitations. Humans prefer to reimagine possibilities. A holographic representation of his previous spacesuits emerged. Each version showed progressive modifications, additional radiation shielding, molecular level, temperature regulation, adaptive material compositions that could respond to changing environmental conditions. It wasn't just technology, it was a living, evolving system. Hannah's research databases began analyzing the information. Her species viewed technological progression as a linear, carefully calculated process. Human innovation appeared almost organic, messy, unpredictable, but incredibly effective. The rover's external sensors detected another approaching radiation storm. Where most exploration vehicles would activate standard protective protocols, June's rover seemed to breathe, adapting its energy shields dynamically. It wasn't just protection, it was a dance of survival. 3 previous planetary expeditions, Hannah noted, reviewing his mission logs. Environments that should have been fatal. How? June's explanation was simple, yet profound. Preparation meets adaptability. Understanding the environment isn't just about technology, it's about understanding potential, about being willing to change, to improvise. His previous mission logs revealed incredible stories. On Gamma 9, he had survived a complete atmospheric collapse by creating a makeshift oxygen generation system using local mineral compounds. On the methane platforms of Titan 7, he developed emergency thermal systems, using nothing more than standard research equipment and pure human creativity. The holographic displays continued their intricate dance, revealing not just missions, but a fundamental approach to survival. Xylarian exploration relied on predetermined computational models. Human exploration was a continuous, dynamic process of learning and adapting. Hannah's biological systems continued recovering, her alien physiology slowly integrating the medical nanobots. But something else was happening. A deeper understanding was forming. Humans weren't just another species in the galactic ecosystem, they were something else entirely. "Your species doesn't just survive," she finally said. "You transform survival into an art form." Outside, the radiation storm reached its peak. The rover's adaptive systems shifted, creating complex energy patterns that absorbed and redirected the incoming electromagnetic waves. It wasn't defense, it was interaction, a living response to planetary hostility. June watched the storm, his hands occasionally making subtle adjustments to the rover's systems. To him, this wasn't just exploration. This was a continuous conversation with the universe, a dialogue written in the language of survival and innovation. The holographic displays continued their complex dance, revealing layer after layer of human potential. Each projection, each mission log told a story far beyond simple planetary exploration. This was about something more fundamental, the human capacity to transform challenge into opportunity. As the radiation storm slowly dissipated, something remarkable was happening inside the rover. Two beings from completely different evolutionary paths were discovering a shared language, the language of survival, of potential, of pushing beyond known limitations. The universe continued its endless, violent dance. And here, in this tiny rover on a hostile planet, human potential was being rewritten, one moment at a time. End of Part 4. The distant hum of an approaching spacecraft cut through Krell 9's toxic atmosphere. June's communication systems flickered to life, detecting a Xylarian rescue vessel entering the planet's volatile electromagnetic field. Its sleek design contrasted sharply with the brutal landscape, a testament to technological precision that seemed almost delicate compared to the rover's robust, adaptive structure. Hana's crystalline eyes tracked the incoming vessel, her alien physiology now fully stabilized. The medical nanobots continued their subtle work, a testament to June's extraordinary medical intervention. What should have been an impossible rescue had become something more, a bridge between two entirely different species. "Your people are coming," June observed, his voice calm despite the approaching dramatic moment. The Xylarian rescue team's communication protocols activated, a complex series of electromagnetic pulses that would typically demand absolute precision. But something was different this time. Hana's biological data, her survival story, was already transmitting, a narrative that would challenge everything her species understood about interstellar exploration. The spacecraft's landing sequence began. Advanced gravitational stabilizers fought against Krell 9's unpredictable terrain, creating a delicate dance of technological precision. Where most vessels would struggle, this ship moved with calculated grace. Yet it was nothing compared to the improvised survival June had demonstrated. Rescue teams emerged, tall, crystalline beings whose biological structures seemed more like living technology than organic life. Their environmental suits represented the pinnacle of Xylarian technological achievement. Precision-engineered, computationally perfect, designed to survive the most extreme conditions. But they had never met a human like June. The communication protocols began immediately. Complex linguistic algorithms translated not just words, but entire contextual experiences. The rescue team's initial scans revealed something impossible: Hana's survival against environmental conditions that should have dissolved her cellular structure within minutes. Biological reconstruction method, unknown, one of the Xylarian researchers noted, their translation systems working overtime. June simply smiled. Humans had a way of making the impossible look routine. The rover's systems began transferring medical data, a comprehensive record of Hana's rescue. Each molecular intervention, each adaptive medical strategy was laid bare. It wasn't just a medical report. It was a testament to human innovation, to the ability to transform limitation into opportunity. Xylarian research protocols demanded absolute precision. Human exploration demanded something else entirely: creativity, adaptability, a willingness to reimagine what was possible. The medical data challenged everything their computational models understood about survival. How? The lead researchers. Translation came through. A mixture of scientific curiosity and fundamental confusion, June's response was elegantly simple. Survival isn't about perfect technology. It's about understanding potential. The rescue team's computational systems struggled to process the information. Their entire exploratory philosophy was built on predetermined models, on computational perfection. Human intervention appeared almost chaotic, improvised, dynamic, living. Hannah became their unexpected translator. Her experience aboard the rover had transformed her understanding of exploration. Humans weren't just another species, they were something more fundamental. Survivors, innovators, beings who transformed limitation into opportunity. The Xylarian vessel's systems continued scanning, recording, analyzing. But something more profound was happening. This wasn't just a rescue mission. This was a fundamental re-examination of interstellar exploration philosophy. Outside, Krell 9 continued its violent environmental dance. Radiation storms flickered across the horizon, electromagnetic pulses creating complex patterns of destruction. But inside the rover, inside the Xylarian vessel, a different conversation was happening. June's research logs would become legendary. Not just another planetary expedition, but a moment that would reshape understanding of human potential. The medical intervention, the survival strategy, the pure adaptive capacity, it was more than science. It was a statement about what it meant to be human. As the rescue procedures continued, Hannah looked at June, the human who had saved her life, who had transformed a potential death sentence into a moment of extraordinary connection. Their eyes met, two beings from completely different evolutionary paths, united by something more profound than technology. The universe continued its endless, violent dance. Planets raged. Radiation storms consumed entire landscapes. But here, in this moment, something remarkable was happening. Humanity was rewriting the rules of survival. End of Part 5. Honest. End of Part 1.